Hi, ladies and gentlemen, and anybody who does not fit that uh, gender role. Welcome to another episode of Unmedicated Disaster. My name's Al.
And I am still Danielle. That's a few weeks running now, but I haven't changed my name yet.
One day she'll probably change her name.
It's coming.
It's either you or my roommate. One of you will probably do it.
Too many Danielles.
So, on today's topic, we're going to talk about a current event that should have died probably about a week ago.
I feel like it should have died the day after it happened. Honestly,
Well, not necessarily the day after it happened because everybody wants to talk about it. But 3 days
3
down the
days is long
line, I
enough.
think it was like, well, you know, it's great. Everything else that happened in the Oscars because nobody else cares.
Yes. So obviously we're talking about the slap heard around the world, as it were, um, and the bigger issues that were brought up by that situation. Because a lot of people are talking about, oh, you can't just march on stage and slap a comedian. And that seems to be a very simple take on the whole situation. So we wanted to talk about, when does a joke go too far? Are there things you just shouldn't joke about? And as an extension of that, when is that type of response to a joke? Is it ever justified? And why is that sort of reaction okay in certain situations, but not in others? And I feel like a lot of people are trying to oversimplify the situation and are taking stances that maybe don't wouldn't apply in the real world, but they're applying to these celebrities that had an altercation. So we just want to talk about that because, like everybody else, we couldn't escape it, and we have a lot of feelings.
Yeah. We thought we'd be able to avoid it. Be like, oh no, by the time we talk about it, it'll probably die.
And here it is, still kicking,
It's still
still
on the
kicking.
news, whether you switch into Twitter or Facebook or God knows what. In
It's
some way, shape, or form,
everywhere.
you're still gonna hear it. The fact that someone did a parody of a song just to make and continue to make fun of a situation that happened at the Oscars was very disheartening for me. I did not. I changed the channel. I was like, I'm no longer gonna watch this. And the responses that some comedians that before now I held in much respect, and you knew
Oh
because
yeah,
I explained to you how much this comedian was like, oh man, I really want to see this comedian.
just name names, just put it out
Never,
there.
never saw this comedian like live. I never went to a live performance, but I don't really have any.
Yeah, the this comedian that Alice talking about, we had actually just bought tickets to see them when he is coming locally. And our issue wasn't necessarily that he had something to say about,
It wasn't his opinion on
yeah,
it.
it wasn't that he wanted to joke about it or had something to say. It was the fact that the situation between, like, Will Smith and Chris Rock was between Will Smith and Chris Rock. And this comedian decided his hot take was going to be calling Will Smith's wife a bitch repeatedly over and over. This dusty bitch, bald headed bitch. And the fact that he chose to attack her in this situation. And it's like, I get it. There's a lot of water under the bridge, apparently, just with the Smith family amongst themselves, whatever. But to choose to go after her in the way he did, in such a derogatory way, it took it from I have an opinion to just unnecessary just response.
Like for some reason it was her fault.
Yeah. And that's honestly, that's not the we don't want to get into why men feel the need to just attack the woman, especially a black woman. Um, but it was just very uncomfortable and kind of very telling about who he is as a person. And now we're sitting here going, well, we have these tickets and hopefully we can resell them, because I don't know about Al, but I don't want to be in the same room as this guy, even if it's an arena,
Yeah, no,
you know?
I'm not really interested in seeing this guy. Like, I'll stick to Netflix or whatever. I already
Yeah.
pay for that, so if
Yeah.
it's there and I already paid for it, then I'll watch it then. But after that, I don't I have no interest in seeing this person live after I've seen them stoop so low.
Yeah.
You know?
And that's the whole thing. It's not they made a joke or, oh, they had an opinion. It was just, why are you attacking this
Yeah,
woman
I
like
like.
that? Like, why?
I'm not out to like cancel this person. I'm not like everybody sign a petition. Fuck this dude. It's just like, yeah, you lost me.
Yeah, because there's you're
And it was
allowed.
sad because it didn't even include him.
Yeah.
And you lost someone because you just
And
had to put your white person, even though he's not 100% white, his half white person opinion on it, and such a negative way on top of that.
yeah, and I guess my thing with it was not that he had an opinion. It was the fact that instead of voicing his opinion about the situation or what was wrong about it, he just chose to attack the woman who technically wasn't involved. It was between the two men, and he's like, "I'm going to attack the women involved because I'm an edgy boy." And it's just like, "Come on, man. Like, you're better than this, or apparently you're not, but we thought you were."
Yeah.
So,
So the big question we have in our minds is, when does comedy go too far? Do you guys have a specific, like, oh, maybe you shouldn't joke about certain things, or when you guys, watch comedy, whether it's live or on TV or whatever, do you just say, hey, they have no restrictions, no nothing, you're free to say whatever's on your mind, attack whoever you want, because it's under the guise that it's comedy, so it's okay.
I know I personally think that there are certain topics that you shouldn't joke about. And something that Al and I have spoken about in a lot recently since this issue with the Oscars happened is, there's ultimately Jada Pinkett Smith has a medical condition
Right.
that is basically what Chris Rock was joking about. And people can say, "Oh, maybe he didn't know." It doesn't matter. He knew, he had all the cultural context that he needed to not make that joke. He did a what turned out to, I guess, be a joke to him, but he did do a documentary about black women and their relationship with hair, and he spoke to women with alopecia like Jada Pinkett Smith. Yet he still made that joke. So, as the way I see it is, you're mocking somebody with a medical condition, and that's not okay. That's I can't think of a time when that is okay. I don't know about you.
I mean, let's move a little bit backwards. To be fair, not even without a disease or any kind of medical condition, women of color get made fun of their hair. They're restricted from jobs because of their
Mhm.
hair, sports because of their hair. They're judged a lot because of their hair. And I'm sorry, but Chris Rock should have known better.
Yeah, and that's we're going to be all over the place here
Oh
because
yeah.
and something we actually just touched on last night was the way, like you said, black women, everybody is always on black women. Um and it's not just, white men making fun of black women or white women making fun of black women. It's even black men making fun of black women. And it's like they're treating them like these punching bags that they do not deserve. Like when it comes down to it, like how is it that these women are just such easy targets, and why do people think it's okay? Obviously, it is not. And like Al said, the discrimination that happens against black women for their hair is out of control. The fact that the United States Congress right now is arguing over a bill to basically make it illegal to discriminate against black women and black men as well, but black women for their hairstyles. And people are arguing that people should be able to discriminate. Like, it baffles me. It blows my mind. And I know it's something that kind of hits home for your family because I've spoken to your aunt and your cousin, about that.
Yes.
um, where his aunt is a school teacher.
Right.
She is a brilliant woman. She's one of the smartest women I've ever spoken to. Yet, when she is
And her charisma score is high.
she's a wonderful person. Um, and like everybody just loves her and she's great, she's smart. But when she goes into her classroom when it's school time, she has to make an effort to make her hair look more palatable for the white people. She
Yes.
can't wear her natural curly hair because people will judge her for it. Um, and her daughter, your cousin, she also beautiful natural hair, but she also acknowledges that even though she's like gonna be a dentist one day and she's brilliant, she has to watch how she wears her hair because people won't take her seriously. So for Chris Rock to get up on that stage and mock a black woman, being a black man, allegedly understanding what these women go through, it was so uncalled for.
Right.
So uncalled for.
Yeah. And I mean, read the room. You have someone who has their entire head shaved off. Unless you're up there with army boots and a big old camouflage jacket, I'm probably not going to assume why that person has their hairstyle, whatever, the way they are, whether they're covered from head to toe or whatever. I probably won't assume because it's probably something bad. And unless I spoke to them and said, and I find out this was a choice, I decided to do this, then I could be like, oh, okay. So maybe next time I know, I was like, oh, I could probably like poke fun
Yeah.
at it because of their style, whatever. But if even if you even let's give Chris Rock the benefit of the doubt, even if he did not know about her condition, I would never. I don't have the heart in me, nor would I respect anybody who has the balls to go up to a person, man, woman, white, black, doesn't matter, who have their entire head shaved, you know, their hair shaved off, and then have the audacity to make fun of that person. You don't know if they have chemo. That just it hits a certain type of low that makes you feel very uncomfortable. And if you have to resort to cheap comedy to try and get a laugh from someone, then I mean, you and the person that's laughing about it have some self.
Yeah, you have to stoop to that level to make a joke. You probably weren't very good at comedy to begin with,
No.
at least in my opinion. And I think that I do want to take
Or
a
did you run out of materials? I don't know.
I do want to mention before anybody tries to come for us. I do not believe that Will Smith was in the right. He should not have gone up on that
Yeah,
stage.
let's talk about
Yeah.
that.
He should not have gone up on that stage and did what he
Yeah.
did.
Is violence ever the answer to something like that?
I think that there is there's a lot of gray area here
Right.
because and this
So
is
it's not a definitive yes or no from you.
I'm not going to give a definitive yes or no because it's very easy for people to look at what happened and say Will Smith assaulted that guy. He should get arrested. He should be in jail. And then I say, okay, unclutch your pearls. Just let go. Now, let's change the situation. You're at the bar with your beautiful wife, and some asshole comes over and makes a nasty comment to you about her appearance that clearly upsets her. And it's in front of the whole bar, and your wife's now upset. I can guarantee that there are plenty of men who would walk up to that dude that made that joke and clock him.
Yeah. I could see
Absolutely.
I could see a lot of men just where the Arthur meme flows through their head
Mhm.
and just be like, well,
I mean,
fisticuffs time.
I don't know about you, but I've seen people get punched in a bar.
Um, it's it's. I mean, I've been in New York City. It's not a normal night at a bar if
Yeah.
there's not some kind of physical altercation.
And
Most of these physical altercations are because someone's way too drunk and
yeah.
being stupid. That's fine. You know, that's why they have bouncers. They're ready for that because they know there are people who, unfortunately, when they get drunk, they get violent. I'm not one of those type
Yeah.
of people.
I hopefully will not be in a bar fight, but that's the kind of thing. It's like this kind of thing happens all the time.
All the time.
All the time.
Nobody bats an eye about it.
Somebody runs their mouth, they get slapped in the mouth for running it, and then the bouncers step in or they go their separate ways, and everybody's like,
Nobody loses a job over it.
yeah, they'll be like, oh, well, yeah, he did say something stupid, so we got what was coming to him. And everybody accepts it. But now all these people are pretending like they're so above it and they would never dream of it. I'm like, come on,
Yeah,
guys.
even
Come
if it
on.
wasn't my wife, even if I had a friend and this friend was a person of color and she was enjoying her night out at a bar and some person decided, I'm going to go up to this lady and use the N word, unless they're a person of color, They don't have to be my wife. I'm going to, if I see that they're physically upset about this, like, you know, that's it, that their whole night is ruined, sir. Uh, they're not going to be nice words exchanged. Um, the the time for nice words was crossed by you, and the next thing you're going to get is a fist, because there's just certain things you don't joke about. And when we say don't joke about it, don't use these things, don't say these things, we mean it. And I get that a lot of people hide behind a screen and go, well, I could say it, nothing bad's going to happen to me. It's a whole new different world in real life, people. When you're not behind a screen and you say things you shouldn't, there are consequences.
And and
It's that simple.
and with that, it's also easy on the flip side to say, you sit, at home on Facebook, like so many, bored housewives do, and pretend like they're just so far above this, and it's so they cannot believe it happened, and it's disgusting, and it's an embarrassment. And ma'am, you get in fights with cashiers and threaten to like kill them in the parking lot. So please stop pretending that watching a man slap another man for insulting his wife is like, oh my God, the worst thing you've ever seen.
The worst thing I ever saw when I was working at
Oh no.
what's it called? One of those unfortunate jobs where you have to talk with people a whole lot and interact with them and get and retrieve everything in the world, even though we don't have it in stock. Um, the worst I saw was a white lady lose her goddamn mind because we didn't have something in stock. Lose her
Like at
mind.
the craft store?
Yeah. And I mean, like, this wasn't basic necessity. This wasn't like, I need food and you don't have food. It was like, it's my arts and crafts project and you don't have the stuff that I'm looking for. So I'm going to curse everyone out, scream at their face, and then I'm going to proceed to steal stuff. Y'all are crazy.
So that's fine apparently,
Oh, yeah.
but you know, slapping somebody in the mouth for talking about your wife is where you draw the
Yeah.
line. And I
Now,
I just
now, should he had gone up
oh,
on
absolutely
stage,
not.
you know,
He was absolutely wrong for that.
no, I'm sure the Oscars loved it because the
The
numbers
ratings.
were off the fucking, but but that being said, had I been Will Smith, I would have definitely approached him and said, "Hey, buddy, what you said wasn't cool," and then I'd let him know exactly what I mean where it wasn't cool, even if it wasn't in front of, you know,
See, yeah, it's a thing. I think he would have absolutely been justified if it hadn't been like on walking up on the stage and doing it the way he did. I think the most poetic way
it
for
would have still made national news, by the
oh,
way,
for sure.
because they just can't get off.
Yeah, I know.
Like, oh my God, it's, a person of color did this. Oh my God, we need to make
Oh
it national news,
gosh.
and everybody needs their opinion on it
Yeah.
because we're self entitled. We're very important about what we have to say,
Well,
and we've never seen violence ever in our lives, so we need to get this off
do
the
you know what?
TV.
You know what the off oh god. So the whole thing these people acting like it was the most violent thing they've ever seen. I'm 37. Do you know what I saw on TV happen? Do you know what I saw that was really violent that happened on TV?
um, I saw a hanging on TV.
Does September 11th mean anything to you?
Well, that happened
Yeah, that happened.
before the
That
hanging.
happened. Yeah, and guess what else? Remember that time a bunch of people like stormed the Capitol and like wrecked the place and were going to try to kill Nancy Pelosi?
And I
Remember that?
believe they almost killed an officer if
Yeah,
they
and
or did they
I
kill
think
the
they killed a
officer?
police. Yeah, that was a whole thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was pretty violent. I would argue that those things are all worse than a man slapping another man.
Yeah.
But again, the type of people who are mostly up in arms are the white folks.
I mean, we see on TV all the time people getting shot
Oh yeah, but
and killed
but
right on
Will
camera.
Smith slapping
You
Chris
know,
Rock was the
I
worst.
mean, turn your TV on right now. There was literally um,
It's another.
over in Russia.
Oh, no, the Ukraine stuff.
Oh yeah, in Ukraine,
Ukraine. There was just a mass shooting in California.
there was just people lying on the streets. You didn't have to see the shooting to know that this person died a very gruesome death. But
Well,
you
you have
know,
to understand, in Ukraine, it's white people who are killing, white people who are dying. So that's easier. But here we have a black man who was one of the good ones according to white people at large, who just showed how violent and scary he is.
He slapped him. It was a slap.
I know, but you got to understand what the white people are saying. And
He,
then, I told you about this, and it still drives me crazy. And I get it. I'm a white lady. It's not my place, but I'm gonna say it anyway. Fight me. I don't care. There was a former basketball player who wrote an article about it, and in that article, basically said, "Oh, look, now Will Smith is acting all violent, so now, you know, he's gonna be representing the whole black community." And I'm like, "Are you kidding right now?"
that's just a lot of weight for any person to carry on their
He,
shoulders. Why does
but it's not even
he?
that.
Yeah, but why does any single person
Represent, yeah.
represent the entire community?
They
What?
don't. But what that person did when that person wrote that article,
Right.
he just gave all the racists an excuse to go after the black people. Look, they're all the same. Even he agrees. They're all the same. He nailed it right on the head. And I'm like, "Come on. Like, this is your community here, and you just threw them under
Yeah.
the
We're
bus."
not asking you to be perfect. We're just asking you to have a brain and think about things before you go on national television and spew
Oh
things
my word.
that are only going to make it worse for people in the same situation. So, congrats on that.
Yeah, cuz now this person just said, "Oh, look, all black men are violent." And which is not at all true, as we all know. But they just gave everybody this convenient excuse to point a finger and say, "Look, I knew it." And it greatly upset me because like I had been called out for a similar thing.
Right.
Wasn't violence, but that whole, "Oh well, if you don't want to be stereotyped, don't act like the stereotype," which is not an okay thought to have. And I was loudly corrected, and I did reflection, and I learned, and I listened, and now I'm looking at this going, "Come on, man. Like, you can do better than this."
Apparently not.
But yeah, I mean, it's it's just insane, people's reactions to this stuff. And the way they think that, "Oh, it's just a joke," excuses, Chris Rock in the situation.
Some of the takes on these things, like, oh, look at this big man going up to the smaller man and smacking him across the face. I don't know about you, but I've seen a lot of very smaller dudes that will rock your world if you give them an inch. If you give them an inch, they would be like, I'm taking you down. But apparently that was a big thing. It was, well, he's older and he weighs this much, and I'm just like,
You're These people are just tripping over themselves for this. And the fact that so many people are like, "Oh, Chris Rock handled it with such class." A classy person doesn't make that joke to start with.
that's true.
Like,
I'm gonna put that out there. Yeah.
so that's
It wasn't a script. It wasn't like the Oscars were like, "Hey, I need you to make this joke real quick," to someone who's not even there for an award.
mhm.
Who, and I'm gonna. This is some of the things that I was bringing up when it first happened, and I was speaking to you. Uh, he was making fun of a woman who was probably going through shit. Was probably like, you know what? I should probably not go. I'm very self conscious about this thing happening. You don't know if her husband was like, "Hey, no, it's okay. I want you to be there. It's a special moment. I could win whatever. I want you to be there. I want you to celebrate this with me. This and that." He probably, and you don't know this. We don't know this, but why would we make the the assumption that, oh, everything was fine for her to be there? Women face a lot of scrutiny from men, from society. He Will Smith could have been very supportive about getting her to go there and just enjoy the night. And one person who they probably relied on, have probably spoken about this kind of thing before, decided, you know what? I don't have anything else better to do.
Yeah, it was clear that the joke was very intentional. Like, he could have joked about Will himself, could have joked about any of those nominees, but he instead said, "I'm going to target this person who isn't even nominated just because I can." And it the whole thing just was a very poor situation.
And to people who are like, oh, it's just that they can't take a joke. They've Chris Rock has made fun of the Smith family
a
in
lot.
other occasions, and it's never been a problem.
But
But again, when does comedy go too far? And I think we got a perfect example. Has that been the only time? No, it's just because it was televised and everyone was there to experience it. I'm pretty sure in some comedy sketch, someone will probably say something, probably not go up on stage and act a fool, but I'm sure someone has said stuff, has yelled stuff to the person who's trying to make jokes, like, "Hey, that wasn't funny," or "That was disrespectful," or "I'm
or
offended by stuff
or
like that."
yell some slurs at them if they don't agree. I've heard that happen at shows personally.
Yeah,
And you people act like this violence towards comedians is just a physical thing, and it's not. And it goes both ways because with comedy, I always thought that the golden rule was you'd never punch down. Never ever punch down. And that's what happened here. And um that was a concept I think I explained to Al was the idea is if you're making jokes at the expense of somebody who, you know, either can't defend themselves or is in a position that isn't as privileged as yours. So for example, a comedian can go on SNL and make fun of the president. They can make fun of movie stars, for being ridiculous or the Kardashians for whatever they're
right.
doing. Fine. They're rich, they're famous, they're powerful people. You make fun of Jeff Bezos, whatever. But if somebody goes on SNL and starts making derogatory jokes at, I don't know, children with cancer. Now, obviously
Because that's funny, right?
that's an extreme example, but it's the same kind of thing as if you're a white woman comedian and you're making derogatory jokes about black women, or you are a white heterosexual Christian male who is making jokes about Jewish people or gay people at their expense, that is not okay. So there was a comedian we watched the other day, British guy, his name's Russell Howard. Um, and it was a very good example of being really funny without,
Punching down.
making jokes at the expense of other people.
Right.
His his stories, his humor, it was very much about himself, his experiences, his family.
Right.
It wasn't generalizations about groups of people. It wasn't. Um, there was nothing nasty about it. And honestly, we were both laughing. Like I couldn't breathe at one point. And he had to stop it because we were just laughing so hard. And it was just such a great example of you don't have to be nasty. You don't have to be edgy. You don't have to attack people to be funny, to be a good
Right.
comedian.
Yeah. And there's tons of comedians out there who don't punch down or don't have to be cruel to be funny.
And I think people forget that.
Yeah.
Because there's a type of person who thinks the only way to be funny is to be nasty, is to attack people and be like, oh, ho, 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 it was just a joke. But that's just low hanging fruit. Like if you can't do better than that, you're not cut out to be a comedian. Because
Yeah.
sure, there's some people who just are like, that's their whole shtick is to be edgy. But if that's all you've got, and if you're just constantly hurting people or attacking people with your comedy, that's not something that I feel like is even necessary.
It's pretty sad that you have people who they're willing to go that low just for a few laughs, and if that's all it takes, are you really a comedian? Are you really funny?
I don't think that's funny
No.
personally. So there's definitely things you can joke about, um, tell your own stories, tell about your family or friends. But when we talk about, mocking people who are maybe less fortunate than you or in different situations than you, that isn't just a racial thing, a religious thing, nationality thing. It can apply to other situations, like people who have, like we talked about earlier, like illnesses.
Right.
Don't make fun of people with cancer. It's not funny. It's not okay.
Not just cancer,
No.
because I'm sure she doesn't have that.
Yeah.
We all know she's suffering with something else. But even if it's not anything that's visual, because mental disorder, for example, there's another one. It's not necessarily visual.
Yeah,
You
like
can't always tell when someone has
you can't see a mental health
a
issue.
mental health issue, but um, and sometimes we joke about mental health. I mean, our podcast is called, Unmedicated Disaster, but it's something that we're coping with, and we're, if anything, we're laughing with each other and not necessarily making crude jokes about
Yeah,
other people.
we're not looking at other people and saying, "Oh, you're stupid because you're depressed." No, it's about our own issues.
Yeah,
And for a lot of people, I feel like with mental health issues, joking about it with each other is is a way that we kind of deal with it.
it's a coping mechanism.
If we can't afford therapy. But I guess that's the difference there, as opposed to a random person standing on a stage going, haha, look at the crazy people,
Yeah,
versus, talking amongst friends or with people who understand where you're coming from.
yeah. It's like, you know, being a comedian and going on stage and deciding, hey, you know what I'm gonna joke about? Suicide. I'm gonna joke about people who decide they don't feel worthy, they don't feel like they're accepted in this world, so they're gonna do something tragic. You don't
It's not
know
funny.
who, that's something you don't see. You don't just look at someone and be like, mm-hmm, this person, all these people are all fine. I'm gonna joke about this. Like, there's someone who, has probably debated it, has probably attempted something, and for you to joke about it, you're only giving them a not a very nice thought in their heads as to what's possible, what's not, and whether, you know,
And
it's a shame.
especially it kind of baffles me how many comedians think it's okay to, laugh at people with mental health issues or mock people for saying they have anxiety or depression. Because take a look around at comedians and performers who have taken their own lives or who struggled with substance abuse because they were trying to cope with those issues. And yet people still make jokes about it.
And it's literally like very famous comedians
Yeah.
that something like that took their
Like
life.
Robin Williams, anyone?
Robin Williams is a freaking
I mean,
idol,
that's,
and he
and do you think that the people who made these jokes about mental health and depression, anxiety, medications and this, who did it in a not in a self-deprecating way, but in a nasty "what's wrong with you" kind of way, what effect do you think that that had on somebody like him, who these are his peers, who are mocking these issues to the point where he took his own life? This person who is basically universally loved, and they still make these jokes. And so when you look and say, "Oh, well, it's just a joke," it's not.
I wouldn't want that on my shoulders.
Yeah,
Sorry.
like it's not just a joke. It's not okay.
No. Comedy's supposed to be about relief. Comedy's supposed to be about getting you into a better state of mind. Jokes, laughter, get the what I like to call the good genes, or the good what are they called? What
The,
does people call them?
uh,
The good cells running. I listen. I'm not a scientist, or
and and we're not saying that it's not okay to make light of your own struggles. And I think that that is kind of a fine line.
yeah,
And just for example, John Mulaney was back on SNL recently, and it's pretty well known he had substance abuse issues, and he went to rehab and had some personal issues. And he was making fun of his own issues,
he was
and
coping with it.
he was coping with it and talking about his own recovery and his life as it is. And in that way, it's more of a healing thing, I would imagine, to be like, look, I went through this and now I can laugh about it. But at no point did he say, hey, and if you're still a drug addict, you're stupid. Haha. No, because it's sharing your own story. It's not mocking other people's struggles.
Yeah,
And that's a huge difference there.
yeah. Doing that a form of coping, even if you have something that you wanted to make a joke of, and it was between a close group of friends. Okay, as long as you know your friends and you know that there's nothing, no underlying thing, you know, You can make a joke or two, in between your friends, but that's between people who trust you and probably are aware that you're just being funny or an idiot.
Or like how many times have, like Alice tell me, okay, text me when you get home. And then the text you get is, well, I made it home alive, unfortunately. You know, but that's one thing because I can say that to him because he knows I am joking.
Right.
But would I just, get up on stage in front of a couple thousand people and be like, hey, unfortunately, I'm still alive and I don't want to be? No, because that's not really appropriate. And people who may be struggling may be like, oh god, and it could hit the wrong way, and I don't feel like that's something you don't make that joke to
Right.
people you don't know or
Right.
who don't understand you, where you're coming from, what you're experiencing in your life.
Right. And you talk about close group of friends because they understand you, that you know each other to a certain extent. I'm assuming most friends know each other very well to know what they can and cannot joke about, or if they find out, hey, you know Alexa got very, very upset that I joked about this thing, or Tiffany was very offended by this joke. You now know, don't make that joke again. Apologize because you don't know what they've been through. You don't know if their family member has been through
Yeah.
something.
That's I mean,
Or,
that actually came up with a friend of mine that you have met. Somebody at a former place of employment decided to make a joke about people cutting themselves. Well, little did they know that my friend had dealt with that in their past. And it was not okay because that then sent my friend into a spiral. And in that situation, if you make this inappropriate joke and you see how it affects somebody, your reaction should be like you said, I'm sorry. I did not know. I should not have made that joke. It doesn't excuse what I said, but I am sincerely sorry. And you never make that joke again. Unfortunately, the person in that situation just kind of doubled down and was like, haha, I was just joking. That's not okay. Nothing about that is okay. And that's when knowing your audience. And
right,
when you misread your audience, you need to take ownership of that.
right. And, when it comes to the workplace too, again, how much do you know your coworkers and everybody that works around you, whether they're below you, above you, doesn't matter. In my last workplace, I want to say I was very close to everybody because I was in their same position. I just happened to be the one to move up. I would make jokes about walk in, while everybody's relaxing and be like, all right, you're all fired, get out of here. You know, none of them took me seriously because they knew me. They knew I joked a lot
And they knew you also respected their work and would not do that,
because I always gave
Yeah.
gave them a praise.
You gave them good feedback.
I always gave
You
them,
you told them they did a good
yeah.
job.
So they always knew that I was joking. But you told me a story about how that backfired on somebody.
Yeah, there was and again, know your audience.
Yeah,
There was a story that made the rounds on Reddit recently. And
we
we're not going to
love
go into a whole Reddit thing
we
again.
love Reddit.
We do love Reddit though. And it was an employee came into their job. It was April Fool's Day. It was also a Friday, which I feel like does matter in the situation. And the boss came up to them and was like, "Hey, you're fired. Pack your stuff, get out." So that employee packed their stuff and was getting all their things together and doing their business. And as they were leaving, the boss was like, "Where are you going?" And they're like, "You fired me." And they're like, "Oh, it was just an April Fool's joke. Ha ha ha."
Oh, I think they were gone.
No,
They messaged and
they
said, "Where the hell are you?" And it's like, you fired
but
me.
whatever it was, the person is like, "Well, I'm fired, so whatever." "Oh, it was just an April Fool's joke, this and that." No, because in that situation, it seemed in the story that it was a more corporate office type of job.
Yeah,
And it wasn't necessarily a great workplace where the employees and the boss did not have a very good relationship, did not have this joking relationship. And it ended very badly because ended up, the boss ended up getting fired. I know that employee did end up coming back, but everybody basically revolted
right.
because of this. And in this situation, the boss got fired, everybody else moved up, happy ending. But picture the people who maybe the boss makes this joke and you start to panic like, I just lost my job. How am I going to pay my bills? Am I going to lose my house? What am I going to do with my kids? And you're calling your family and you're upset. And that's a horrible thing to joke about.
Yeah. And I mean, if you have that much free time to know, it's like, what date's today? Oh, it's April Fool's. It's fine. Like, I'm pretty sure that guy didn't know what day of the week it was. He was just like, I have to get these reports. I have to do this. I have to do that. When I was in the manager position, my last job, I was constantly like, okay, what day is today? It doesn't matter. You're busy the entire day. You're going to be busy today. You're going to be busy tomorrow. You're going to be busy until the next season comes, you know? And it was like, you'd bring it up. It's like, oh, hey, it's this day. And I was like, oh, it's St. Patrick's Day. Oh, oh, look at that, you know. And we decided to do something afterwards. But had you not said anything,
No, no.
I would have been like, oh shit, I missed St. Patrick's Day. Because again, they probably didn't have a close relationship. In some jobs like ours, you're very close with your team. You're right there with your team. You have your own stuff to do, but you know exactly what's going on in the next room, next to you. But in some of these jobs, you're just
Yeah,
the boss is in a whole new world.
yeah, if the boss is in their office and you're in like the cubicle farm,
Yeah,
I mean, how would you just assume? And especially right now with basically the world's crazy, it wouldn't be out of the realm of possibility for somebody to like lay off their department
yeah.
because they're all being, you know, the jobs are being sent out somewhere else. And I think that that is just such a cruel thing to do to your employees, especially if you aren't close to them, because the first person's reaction isn't going to be, "Oh, haha, that's a funny joke." It's panic, it's tears, it's what am I going to do? And then you expect people just to laugh after you put them through that.
That, or
No,
if they hate their job and you just not knowing this person very well, not in a joking manner, every day of the week, just go, you're fired. You'd be like,
because
all right,
yeah,
bye.
because I'm going to take my unemployment, my severance package, and a couple weeks vacation. Because if a boss says you're fired, you're fired. You
Yeah.
can collect.
If you hate your job,
Yeah,
someone says you're fired. You're like,
you're like,
well, that's
bye.
all I needed.
I didn't need an excuse, you know?
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I just think that that's just it's a stupid and just insensitive, thing to joke about. Um, and I guess the same thing would go with, with pranks that way. Like I don't understand like couples especially who prank each other in such mean ways. Like
Give me an example.
oh, I'm giving you one. A boyfriend or girlfriend is like, "Oh, I went to Atlantic City and I lost 10 grand. Oh no, I don't know what I'm going to do. I can't do this." And then the other partner freaking out because, "Oh my god, that was rent. Oh my god, that was our savings. What are you thinking? What are you going to do?" And then, haha, it's funny. It's not funny. It's not funny. Because when you're dealing with people's livelihoods, people's finances, how they're going to keep a roof over their head, it's not. Um, I can't. In that example I gave, I can't imagine that ever being funny. But to mess with people's, their safety nets, their homes, their bank accounts,
Right.
it's not good natured. It's not funny.
And it might be a relief joke to you for that moment, but you just put your partner in a whole bunch of stress by saying,
Mhm.
hey, we're struggling with money, and you did exactly what with the money?
Yeah,
But
because
I mean, if you get left and then you're like, oh, I don't get it, it was just a joke. Why don't you joke about how, I don't know, you spilled your drink all over
yeah.
you?
Oh no,
Or,
or oh, you put like a leak, like the vegetable in the
right,
fridge, and be like, "Oh no, there's a leak in the
right.
fridge," and then you open it up and like, "Haha, look, that's a joke."
Or you came home, and I watched something similar to this online not too long ago. You come home with your shirt or a hickey or lipstick on you, and you're like, this is a prank. And your girlfriend sees this or your wife sees this, and she's like, are you fucking kidding me right now? Apparently, people prank about this. And what's worse is it was someone else who went around and said, you know what's a good prank? If I go up to men and just put lipstick on their shirt or on their necks or on their arm or
Yeah,
whatever,
that's not okay.
where the men sometimes, wherever he's dancing or he's drinking, he doesn't even realize. And now he has to go home and explain to his wife why he has lipstick on his.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
not okay.
you don't
Messing with
know.
people's relationships like that,
Oh man,
or like joking about how you cheated on your significant other, or even if you're not in the relationship, like let's say your friend, like I'm friends with another woman, and I go and tell this other woman that their boyfriend's cheating on them as a joke. That's not funny. These are things that could traumatize, could really
ruin people's lives.
ruin people's relationships or their sanity. It's not funny. And again, that low hanging fruit, you just want to grab it, but at what cost? Like, are you willing to destroy a relationship? Are you willing to lose a friendship? Is that important? Like, is the joke that important to you? Because it's not to me. It wouldn't be to me.
Yeah,
Like,
I mean, I'm pretty sure that boss was like, "It's just a joke. What's the cost?" It was like, "He lost your job, son.
yeah,
That was the cost of that joke.
yeah,
Was it worth it?
yeah.
Was it worth it?"
Or people who uh, joke about like, oh, I'm pregnant to their significant others. I can't imagine. I cannot imagine what that would be like. Because either on one, there's a few ways it could go.
Right.
The first one is, oh my God, you're pregnant. What are we going to do?
Yeah.
The panic, because
Yeah.
maybe you're not financially secure. Maybe you don't have a good place to live. The second one, where they're elated and they're so excited that you're pregnant and they're going to be a parent and you're going to have this life together. Or the third one is maybe they had a person that they lost in childbirth. Maybe they had a miscarriage down the road and you just triggered something very
Yeah.
traumatic for them.
So, and two things:
Like,
being a guy, someone who tried very hard to make sure that I didn't get anybody pregnant,
and we love that.
and it wasn't just because I hate kids. I do, I do, but
You don't hate kids. You just would not want to be a father.
I hate kids.
Okay,
No,
I tried to make
okay,
it better, but
no,
you wouldn't actively hurt
an
children.
innocent joke,
Yeah.
an innocent joke
Yeah.
where I say I hate kids.
Yeah.
People are not going to be like, "Oh, I'm kidding." I have nephews,
Yeah. And you would never
cousins.
wish harm on a
I
child.
would never,
Like,
I've done things to get them out of harm's way, and then I go,
damn kids.
I pat them on the head, and then I walk away, going, "This is why I'm not having kids." No, but for someone who tries very hard, to not have kids because they're mentally aware of the situation they're in. I don't make enough to put a kid in this world and give him a good life. I know my parents will sometimes joke about that and be like, "Why don't you have a kid?" And I was just like, "Do you know how much I make? Do you know where I live? Do you think I have the funds to give this child who I think would be deserving
Of a
of
good
a
life,
better
yeah.
lifestyle than the one that I am now?" Now, people turn around and be like, "Well," like my parents, for example, they'll be like, "Well, we brought you into this world, and it wasn't," and I was just like,
I didn't ask my parents to bring me into this world.
I didn't ask them either, but I'm dealing with whatever choices they made. I don't resent them for it. I don't. I
You-
personally don't resent
You're a
my
better man than I.
that for doing that kind of things. But that doesn't mean that I have to bring a child to go
Yeah,
through that again. I
yeah,
have the
it's not
choice
right.
to
To stop it there.
stop
Yeah,
it there or do it when, hey, I have enough money right now that I know that I can take that child while they're young on these extravagant vacations that they're never going to forget. You know,
or
making sure
just
that,
provide for them a nice house.
you know,
All the
they
things
want a
they need.
dog. Hey, listen, we can get a dog. It's fine. You know,
You don't want your kid to ever want for anything.
exactly. Knowing that their future set up. Hey, they want to go to college. Well, that option is there for them. It's there for them if they want to. Not necessarily that they have to, but if it's something that they wish to go for, it's there. And then your, significant other goes as a prank going, "Hey, I'm pregnant," and you're just like, "Who? All right,
Yeah,
all right."
like it honestly, like
And then they
it
get
makes
mad when the
it makes
guy's
my
like,
tummy feel icky just
"Right,
even thinking about it.
right,"
Like,
but and then they get upset when
you,
the guy would be like, "Oh, what about can we? Are
yeah,
you gonna keep it?"
Yeah.
and they're like
And then they get
offended,
offended.
offended, and you're
Like,
like, "Are you gonna keep? What are you kidding me?" I was just like, "Just don't prank about it."
yeah.
Now, if it is real, and they're like, you know, are we gonna keep it? If they're not in a situation, if you guys didn't have this conversation beforehand,
Yeah.
then there's something there that needs to. But if you guys had this conversation beforehand, you guys are making enough money, you guys got this, and you want to prank about it, and then he goes, "Are we gonna keep it?" I was just like, "Ooh, probably not the right thing to say."
Yeah, I
If you
don't.
guys have spoken about it and you're like, okay, we can, like, I wouldn't mind having a kid, but then, she jokes about it because there are couples who they have talked about it. They're like, yeah, I want a child.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm ready for a child, whatever. And then you're like, let's see how ready they are.
Yeah, I hate that, like, the testing thing where they joke about it to test their partner.
But if
Not okay.
if there was a conversation happened beforehand and you understand that both you and your partner want a kid and are ready to have a kid, just be like, whatever, let's see what the reaction
Yeah,
is.
but here's the thing. So you test them. You're not
Right,
pregnant and you were testing them.
right,
And that person is so excited that they're going to be a parent.
right.
They're so happy. They're like, "Oh my god, we're so excited. We're happy. We're thrilled."
Right.
And then you have to be like, "Haha, just kidding." That is cruel.
This might be stereotypical
That is
of me for
cruel.
thinking. I don't think a guy's gonna complain about trying again.
That's not the point.
I know it's not the
That's
point,
not the point.
but stereotypically, men will be
I think
happy
there are a
about.
lot of men who, if there's a man who wants a kid and then they are pranked and told, "Oh, we're gonna have a kid," and then just kidding,
Right.
that's not
Well,
okay.
yeah. Um, but even in the form of, even if it's not pranking them about like, oh, we're gonna have a baby and you're not, or pranking them that they had a miscarriage.
Oh, that joking about having a miscarriage or pranking
Yeah,
somebody, that is unforgivable.
you don't
I
know,
mm,
and there is no way of knowing if the woman you're talking to has ever had to live through that. And you'll never know. There's no signs. You can't look at a woman and assume, oh, yeah, this person's never had to deal with miscarriages, so I'm going to make this joke because they're not going to be offended by it.
yeah, there's
There's no signs. So don't joke about it.
yeah.
It's that simple.
And other things you probably shouldn't joke about with women especially, but ever is sexual assault.
That's a big one.
We don't joke about that.
That is a very big one. And
Rape
that's,
jokes are never okay, friends.
wow.
Ever. Cuz you might think,
Full stop. You know,
yeah, yeah, full
rape
stop.
jokes are not,
Never okay.
yeah.
It's like you might think, "Oh, well, I'm just going to make this joke to be edgy with my friends." And you'd be surprised how many people have experienced either sexual assault or abuse in a relationship.
Any kind of trauma.
That kind of uh, it's unforgivable. Nothing about rape or sexual assault is funny. Domestic assault is not funny. You don't joke about these things that are by their very nature traumatizing, that
Yeah,
could have caused mental, physical injuries to these
yeah.
people. And I don't care if you're a man or a woman and who's making the joke, who's receiving it.
It doesn't
It's
matter
not okay.
how
It's not
long
okay.
ago it happened.
No,
Time, time, unfortunately, does not heal all wounds.
no.
That is, that's something that they spoke about just today in the news about
Mhm.
the stuff they found over in Ukraine and about how, even though these women might have survived rape, it's going to haunt them for the rest of their lives.
It,
Not because they chose to either.
yeah. And now and I'm going to say, there are some people who had these traumatic experiences, and sometimes they'll make jokes that are not appropriate about them to their close friends because they're trying to deal with it.
It's a coping
That
mechanism.
does not give somebody the right to get up on a stage or to just start making jokes about it at somebody else's expense.
Yeah.
And if you're making that joke and you're not the one it happened to, it's at somebody else's expense. Like, I will make some pretty inappropriate comments and jokes about things that I have personally been through to Al, to my very close, like, three friends, because they know it's on my mind and I need to laugh about it or I'm going to have a breakdown.
And yeah, and
Like,
even though, say for example, she did joke about, rape because it's a coping mechanism, or any friend of mine joked about rape because it's a coping mechanism, there's no way I'm gonna turn around the next day
and
and
like,
make a joke about rape because
mhm,
one, it's awkward. I don't know what she's been through, and again, she might be doing a coping mechanism, even if it made me uncomfortable. but I know my friend enough. If I knew, Samantha or Joe or whoever that went through that kind of experience, I it's just it makes me uncomfortable, but if it makes them, if it's helping them in some way, and I know, hey, this person went through a traumatic thing and they're joking about it, I can set my uncomfortableness aside if it means that it's going to help them. If it means that I laugh at the joke that they're making and it's going to make them
And it's usually like a,
sleep better.
oh God, kind of laugh.
It is.
And it's
It's never
usually,
it's like,
and it's typically followed up with, are you okay?
pretty
Do you
much.
need to talk?
Pretty much.
And it's kind of almost like it opens that door.
Yeah.
As it's easier to make a joke like, hey, this horrible thing happened to me. And to have somebody say, are you okay? And then to be able to then talk about it, as opposed to just being like, hey, this thing is really traumatizing and I need to talk.
Right.
For a lot of people, it's easier to kind of joke about it, open the door that way, and then have the conversation, which unfortunately Alice had to deal with several times.
There's a lot of times where I'm just like, I need help.
And that's okay too.
And there's no amount of help that any of my friends could do,
But
I just need help.
always willing to listen.
Yes, but
And please don't be afraid to ask for help. Your friends, those people who are in your little tight circle, they want to help you.
yeah.
Ask for help. If you don't have that tight knit circle, you can seek out a mental health professional, something like that. Honestly, send us an email. We're not doing that for likes, views, whatever. Send us an email.
Yeah, we're not gonna
We
put it online. We're not gonna.
we can't fix everything, but we'll listen.
Yeah.
And we mean that sincerely, because I think we've both been in places where we've just needed somebody to listen. So, and we're always going to be that person. So we're your auntie and uncle now. So please talk to us. So after all that, we definitely need to switch to a lighter topic. I guess we should figure one out. But if you take nothing else away, just don't joke about those things. Don't joke about them.
Don't joke about these things, because some of them are they're going too far, and when you go too far, you catch these hands.
So speaking of that, do we need to circle back to when it is appropriate to slap somebody for their inappropriate joke? Because why is everybody upset about this horrible violence?
And mind you, not everybody was upset about, Will Smith, laying down the slapper.
Yeah.
But because there was a lot of also funny videos online that people made about
There
that.
were.
I like the anime ones. They were really creative. But it's definitely the certain kind of crowd. We're speaking very, very louder than the people who are like, who cares? It's let them do their business. Oh, they slapped each other. Are they going to fight in the parking lot afterwards? That's all we were interested in.
That probably would have been a better idea if they had just
we were just interested. Like, is there gonna be like a feud? Like, are they gonna do like YouTubers do now? They're gonna go in the boxing ring, like, or is that what people were wanting? That's what people.
So people are okay with that. You can have like these YouTubers getting these little whatever nonsense fights, and they literally go on pay-per-view and pummel the crap out of each other
and get a shit ton of money.
And nobody's bothered by that. Nobody cares.
Nobody cares.
Like, why is the violence and these certain situations okay versus this?
You act like he grabbed him and just started like
he
blood everywhere. People are like, "Oh my God, cover your kid's eyes!" Like, no, it was.
Yeah, and obviously, it whatever, and these people are acting like it was this horrific like beat down this man took care of here on stage.
Some senior citizen just got
it's like
ass kicked.
No, that's literally not it. And everybody is so appalled at this, but a ton of entertainment that people love and pay money for and enjoy, it's violent. You have like wrestling, these MMA matches. And okay, fine, that is
sports.
Well, that is a sport that's solely fighting.
Why is
that okay?
Okay in sports.
And you can argue, well, that's the entire sport is fighting. Okay, fine. Let's talk about hockey. Let's talk hockey. Hockey, that's my sport. I know all the things about the hockey.
Yeah, I feel like hockey is just like there's the puck, there's a stick, and there's these hands.
Al doesn't really know anything about sports, but he
I
pretty
don't.
much summed up hockey like just right there. That was perfect. But
Oh, look, I got something right.
but objectively speaking, why are these guys beating each other up?
That never made sense.
And not only are they beating each other up, it is encouraged. Like, you have guys who've made entire careers out of just beating people up. Like, oh, he's the goon, or oh, he's the enforcer, he's gritty. And everybody cheers. Kids are like, yeah, kill him. And people think nothing of it. And this is a brutal fight. We're talking these guys, they're bleeding. They end up with head injuries and CTE, and then
Oh yeah,
um
there's
a,
a difference between
it's
like a
yeah,
dude taking a swing at another dude
yeah.
and grabbing that helmet that's supposed to,
Well,
prevent
they usually
really
take the
bad
they usually
injuries.
take the helmets off.
But that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
It's instead of using the fist, they take the helmets that are supposed to prevent serious injuries and they start pummeling other players with the
They
helmets.
don't do that, Al.
I've all right. Listen, I don't see hockey. I've never been to hockey. I've never, not that I've never, because you made me do that. Um,
No
I've
regrets.
seen at least one hockey
Yeah,
match where a
if
dude
they
was
if
swinging
a guy
his.
tries that, they will be shunned and will likely get suspended because they don't. That's not a thing. That's allowed. But
I'm gonna YouTube
well, you're gonna
hockey and
find
see
crazy
if
stuff,
somebody's gonna be
especially minor
swinging
leagues.
their.
Minor league shit is crazy. But the point being, that sport can exist without that fighting.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. It does in the Olympics, all these, why is it okay for these guys to just pummel the crap out of each other? And it's the sport or it's entertainment. You don't have a problem with that. You don't have a problem with your kids watching that. You don't have a problem with that being on national television. But you have a problem with a man walking up and open palm slapping a guy in the face.
Because he's defending someone who just got humiliated.
Yeah, it's almost like they don't feel like it's necessary to defend a black woman who was just insulted and humiliated on national TV. Oh, did I say that out loud? It's almost like you don't think that that's important. But it's okay. That's the most horrible thing you've seen on TV. But I can turn on NHL Network right now and watch some guy get his face bashed in. Because that's okay. Because he's defending his teammate. Well, he was defending his wife. So what
What
makes
was
it different?
I mean, one is more personal if you ask me.
Yeah. Yeah.
And even in not even just hockey. I know it happens in
Oh,
hockey, like
but hockey, it's an accepted part of the game. And then you talked about
baseball. Like
baseball. They just jump out.
my family watches baseball, and sometimes they're just all rushing in, and I'm going, man, I hope nobody has a bat in their hands because that's not.
But that's the thing. It's like what but everybody accepts that. Oh, sure, somebody might get fined or penalized, but ultimately, it's on ESPN on repeat because you think it's hilarious and it's great.
Yeah,
But you're offended by
there's
somebody getting
nobody that's
slapped.
over there is like, I can't believe he punched the other person. They weighed like 20 pounds less. You know,
And the thing is, it's like you'll have people who argue, oh well, it's sports, it's different. But why? What about that sport requires these people to beat each other up?
that specific sport. I get
Yeah,
boxing why they do it. I
yeah. But
get
we're talking
MMA,
hockey, basket,
wrestling,
or baseball, like these sports where they just start fighting.
right. What
Why? Why is it accepted? It's not a part of the sport. Nobody sat down at baseball and said, bench clearing brawls are okay and they're going to be a great part of our sport. Yet they are watched on repeat on ESPN. Haha, did you see this? And nobody cares. Nobody's upset. But a man watches his wife get insulted on international television and slaps the guy who did it. And all of a sudden, violence is not the answer.
No,
I don't get it.
violence is not the answer,
Violence
but
doesn't belong.
making fun of someone's disorder definitely is the answer.
Yeah, it's
That
ridiculous.
that was okay because at no point, like I get it, and we've said it already. Should he have gone up on stage
No.
and slapped him? No, slap him backstage. Um, but in no case do I hear people saying he shouldn't have done that. He shouldn't have never joked, and Will Smith should never. Blah blah blah. These two men need to get their act together. You're
Fine.
right.
But
They need to get their shit together.
they're acting like Chris Rock is a hero and a martyr. And he's not. He's not.
No.
And the hypocrisy though is what's getting me. Acting like this is the worst thing you've ever seen. It's disgusting. Oh my god, I can't believe my kids had to see this. And you're out there watching these violent sports. You're out there seeing the horrors on the news. You're out there getting in bar fights and, threatening retail workers with violence. But this is where you draw the line.
Can can I just say one thing?
Absolutely.
As a kid, I gave two fucks, count them, about the Oscars. Um, and I was more interested in wrestling and sports as a kid. So who are you trying to protect? Because your kid definitely doesn't give a damn about who wins an award for a movie they've never heard of in their life and they're probably not going to see. Whose kids are watching? Because I didn't watch Oscars as a kid. None of my friends watched Oscars as a kid. Are you watching? Were you watching Oscars as a
I
kid?
like to watch the red carpet for the pretty dresses.
She'd like to watch the red carpet. This doesn't happen at
Eh,
the red carpet.
no, but it would make the red carpet more interesting.
Well, you know
Just
what?
start brawling on the red
If a
carpet.
brawl happened, the carpet would still be okay.
Just like Deadpool, make the suit red, make the carpet red. It works.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's just people need to, if you're going to be enraged about this situation and the way, you know, somebody got slapped, somebody assaulted, keep that energy for other situations,
Yeah.
but you're not gonna. So, Will Smith was wrong for walking up on that stage, and Chris Rock was wrong for making that joke. And if we were a better society, we would have been like, wow, look at these rich people acting stupid on TV, and we would have moved on. Do I feel that Will Smith deserves to have to withdraw from the Academy, potentially lose his Oscar? No, because, hey, Academy, if you're going to take Will Smith away for slapping a guy who insulted his wife, how about we take away all the special awards you gave to the rapists, the pedophiles, the abusers, the violent people? How about we worry about that?
Yeah. Maybe you have bigger things like what is a saying that we used to?
Bigger fish to fry?
Well, pick your matches.
Pick your battles?
Yeah, pick your battles. Like you want to go on this battle of, oh, some guy slapped another guy because he insulted his wife, and the show continued, and the host was like, whatever, it's fine, don't kick him out, and you're gonna choose that fight over, hey, there's a person who's a convicted pedophile or
Yeah,
a
yeah.
rapist or a molester, or in someone's case, someone who did things to women that they shouldn't have, and he won an Oscar, not an Oscar, he won a
Oh, the Grammy, yeah.
Grammy. You know,
Yeah.
I don't know.
He used the N word, got a Grammy. It was
Listen,
great.
I get it. I'm a Libra, but
It seems like if you're going to go after the guy who slapped another dude, you need to then use that energy to get rid of all the other people. But I guess if you started like taking back awards from all of these people, there wouldn't be very many award winners left, would there? Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm sorry. Did I say that?
I mean, they're already
I said
losing
that.
viewers,
Yeah.
so
But the only reason the Academy is doing this at this point is because the ratings were so high. Everybody's talking about it and they want to keep everybody talking about it. Because in their minds, people are gonna be like, oh, what's gonna happen next year? And they're gonna tune in. Nah,
because a lot of people are going to
nah.
tune in and be like, who's getting
Yeah,
his
they're
hands
not watching
next?
because they care about the Oscars. They're
Yeah.
not watching for any of that. They're watching in case some rich,
I
famous
mean,
people
did
act
you
fools.
like literally everybody there thought this is a skit? Like
Yeah.
this is something that they planned, right?
Hmm.
Until Will Smith was like, "No,
Yeah. No, it's
no,
not.
I'm being 100% serious right now." And then everybody was like, "Uh."
Yeah.
but everything was okay with that slap happening. Everything was okay until they realized that it was serious, and then suddenly I was like,
And the second he made contact, everybody tuned in. Ratings were through the roof. And that's all the Academy is going to care about.
so yeah,
But hopefully, if they do punish Will Smith, I know he already did withdraw from the Academy. If they do punish him further, then I hope that people will pressure them. Take back all the awards that are given to people like Roman Polanski, who had to flee the country because he was a sex offender and a pedophile. That they still gave an award, knowing all this. To all the rapists, the abusers, the pedophiles, get those awards back. Keep that energy. Let's go after everybody.
yeah, that's not gonna happen. We
Yeah, no.
literally voted a president that
Yeah.
sexually harassed women.
Oh, sexually assaulted.
Oh,
Worse than harass. Yeah.
that's He still
But
became president.
that just goes to show you that all that America, or more specifically white America, let's call it what it is, cares about is their own little entertainment and how they can feel superior.
Who slapped who, and how dark were they?
That's exactly what it comes down to. They don't care about, they don't care if Chris Rock was upset about it. They don't care that Jada was embarrassed, basically mocked for her medical condition on TV. They don't care. All they care is, haha, look at the black man who did the thing. All they care about.
You know what was sad is that one of the people who spoke the loudest and nobody gave a damn about her opinion was another black woman who was a comedian who said, "Wow, look at that! Someone who's actually
Standing
their
up for
wife,
black women, or their wife,
yeah,
and black women.
who was also a black woman."
Yeah. And nobody seems to care about that.
What if we traded in our tickets for that douchebag and go to
Go
her?
support a black female comedian. If anybody has recommendations,
Yeah,
we can do Atlantic City, Philadelphia, New York City. You let us know.
yeah,
Black female comedians,
Washington.
Washington D.C. We'll travel. We'll go as far as Virginia. You know, give us some suggestions.
Yeah.
We'll sell those tickets that we have for the awful, awful man, and we will use that money to go support black female comedians.
Yeah.
Because I want to hear what they have to say.
I mean, I'd be down to watch Wanda Sykes.
I don't know if we can afford Wanda
No,
Sykes,
we can't.
but even maybe not as well known.
Yeah.
Because I want to
You
hear.
can't afford Tiffany Haddish either.
No, I can't afford Tiffany Haddish.
Damn.
I don't even know if she tours that kind of way. But I want to see what it's like to listen to a black woman make her jokes. I want to hear what she has to joke about, because I feel like, as we started off with, black women are mercilessly just treated like punching bags by everybody else, including black men, which, god damn it, do better. I've given up on white men. I've given up on white women. Please do better. Come
I haven't
support
given up on
black
white women.
You haven't given up on white women?
You're my friend, so no.
Oh, honey.
Are you not white and a woman?
I am a white
Well,
woman.
then I haven't given
but
up on white
I don't.
women yet.
I just don't feel like I'm a specimen.
What is the science class?
So on that note,
Yeah.
don't joke about shit that shouldn't be joked about.
Right.
Support black women. Don't talk over them. Support what they have to say. Support them. If you see them getting treated like shit, say something about it.
Yeah.
And if you run your mouth at the wrong place and the wrong time to the wrong person, you're gonna catch hands. It is what it is.
And mines are big.
He does have big hands.
I have big hands. All right.
Yeah.
I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. And we hope to see you again for the next one. As always, links down below. And I hope you enjoyed your time here.
And if you didn't, I'm sure you'll tell us all about it.
Can't wait to hear it.
Bye.